All right, get ready because today we're diving deep into the world of some really unique animals.
Oh, yeah.
Ones you can only find in Russia.
Wow.
We're talking about creatures that are so fascinating they could make even a seasoned wildlife expert, well, kind of scratch their head.
Exactly. And it's amazing how Russia's diverse landscape, from the icy Arctic to those huge mountains, has shaped how these remarkable species have evolved.
It really is, and we have a fantastic resource to guide us today.
Oh, yeah.
A YouTube video from Top 10 Daily.
Right.
It's titled 10 Unique Animals Found in Russia. So get ready to have your mind blown because some of these animals are straight out of a fantasy novel.
All righty.
Well, let's start with one that's kind of like a real-life superhero of the senses.
Okay.
The Russian Desman.
Well, the Russian Desman,
Okay, I'm intrigued.
it's a small, semi-aquatic mammal,
Okay.
kind of mole-like,
Uh-huh.
but nearly blind.
So how does that even work?
Well, that's where the superhero part comes in.
Okay.
They've got these incredible whiskers packed with specialized sensory organs.
Mm-hmm.
They're called Eimer's organs.
Eimer's
Uh-huh.
organs.
Imagine if you could see your underwater world
Yeah.
through your whiskers.
Wow.
That's essentially what the Desman does.
That's amazing. Talk about making the most of what you've got.
Right.
It's even more impressive when you consider they were nearly hunted to extinction
Oh, yeah.
for their fur.
That's right. It's a tragic story. But thankfully, protective laws were put into place.
Oh, good.
And the Desman population has made a pretty significant comeback.
That's great to hear.
It really highlights how effective conservation efforts can be,
Yes.
especially when we act before it's too late.
Absolutely. And speaking of comebacks,
Yes.
the Eurasian lynx has a pretty remarkable one of its own.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, you
Sure.
got to ask, besides those super senses,
Yeah.
what else makes the Desman so unique?
Well, they have this rather potent defense mechanism.
Okay.
Let's just say if you got close enough to a Desman, you would definitely know it.
Ooh. Ah, yes, the infamous musk.
Yeah.
I read that it's strong enough to clear a room.
That's right.
It makes you wonder how the other animals in the area react to that.
Well, it's certainly effective for marking their territory
Uh-huh.
and deterring predators.
Okay, that makes sense.
Speaking of powerful deterrents,
Yeah.
let's move on to another creature with a pretty fierce reputation,
Okay.
the Siberian wolverine.
Oh, yeah, the skunk bear. But, I always thought that nickname was a bit misleading.
It is, while they do have a strong musk, wolverines are actually part of the weasel family,
Oh, really?
not bears at all.
Wow.
And they're so tough and resourceful,
Mm-hmm.
able to survive in some of the harshest environments on Earth.
I read that they're scavengers often following larger predators like wolves and, lynx too?
Yes,
So the lynx might actually have to compete with wolverines for food?
that's right. They're opportunistic eaters,
Okay.
taking advantage of whatever food sources are available.
Mm-hmm.
And despite their relatively small size,
Yeah.
wolverines are known to take down prey much larger than themselves.
Now I'm starting to see why they have that fierce reputation.
Right.
But now get ready for this because our next two animals are going to challenge everything you thought you knew about seals.
Oh, really?
You're talking about the Baikal seal and the Ladoga ringed seal, right?
Yes, it is surprising to think about seals living in freshwater lakes, isn't it?
Totally. So where exactly are these lakes and what makes these seals so different from their ocean-dwelling cousins?
Well, Lake Baikal, home to the Baikal seal, is in Siberia.
Okay.
It's the deepest lake in the world,
Oh.
and it's teeming with unique life forms. And Lake Ladoga,
Uh-huh.
where you'd find the Ladoga ringed seal, is over in northwestern Russia.
Okay.
It's the largest lake entirely in Europe.
Wow. So they're both pretty significant bodies of water.
They are.
And I read that the Baikal seal has even become a bit of a symbol for the region.
Yes, they're incredibly important to the ecosystem of Lake Baikal.
Wow.
And they even play a significant role in the local culture and folklore.
Really?
There's even a special solarium
Oh,
where
cool.
people can observe them up close.
That's amazing. Imagine seeing these freshwater seals in their natural habitat.
I know.
It must be an incredible experience.
Absolutely.
It's a testament to how adaptable seals are able to thrive in environments that are so different from their typical ocean habitat.
Yeah.
All right, now let's talk about an animal that's practically synonymous with Russia,
Okay.
the Eurasian brown bear.
Ah, yes, the iconic brown bear. It's so deeply embedded in Russian culture,
Oh, yeah.
appearing in everything from folklore and literature
Uh-huh.
to the 1980 Olympics.
Wow, and they're massive, right?
They are.
The second largest bear species in the world after the polar bear.
That's right.
I can only imagine how intimidating it would be to encounter one in the wild.
I know, but despite their size and their reputation as fearsome predators,
Yeah.
Eurasian brown bears are actually omnivores.
Wait, so they're not just meat eaters?
Nope.
What else do they eat?
Their diet is surprisingly diverse,
Okay.
including fish,
Uh-huh.
berries, nuts,
Wow.
honey,
Okay.
and even grass.
Now that's fascinating.
It is, isn't it?
It really challenges the stereotype of the purely carnivorous, ferocious bear.
Speaking of challenging stereotypes,
Okay.
let's journey to the remote Puturana Plateau,
Okay.
where you'll find an animal that thrives in one of the most isolated and rugged environments on Earth.
All right. I'm picturing something truly hardy and resilient.
You got it.
Tell me more about this plateau. How remote are we talking?
It's so isolated, the only way to reach it is by boat or helicopter.
Wow.
And even then, spotting a Puturana snow sheep is a rare feat.
Really?
They blend seamlessly with the rocky surroundings,
Oh, wow.
making them incredibly difficult to find.
Wow, that's some serious camouflage. And what about their predators?
Yeah.
I'm guessing they have to contend with some pretty tough competition up there.
Well, they do. Wolves and wolverines
Makes sense.
are their main predators,
Okay.
and they also have to endure the harsh Siberian winters.
So they're not just battling the elements, they're battling some pretty fierce predators, too.
Exactly. Their resilience is truly remarkable.
It is.
And they have these incredible horns.
Okay.
The male's horns can reach over 3 feet long.
3 feet.
Yes.
Now that's a sight I'd love to see, though, maybe from a safe distance, considering those predators you mentioned.
Probably a wise idea. Now, let's shift gears to a much smaller,
Okay.
but equally fascinating inhabitant of Russia,
Okay.
the Siberian chipmunk.
All right. Bring on the cuteness.
Right.
I'm always up for learning about a new chipmunk species. Are they similar to the ones we see in North America?
Well, they share some similarities, but there's one key difference.
Okay.
The Siberian chipmunk is the only chipmunk species found outside of North America.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah.
That's amazing. It's like a little piece of North America tucked away in Siberia.
It is quite remarkable, and while they're not as common as their North American relatives,
Yeah.
Siberian chipmunks have become increasingly popular as pets.
I can see why.
Yeah.
Those stripes, the bushy tail.
Right.
It's hard to resist their charm, but I imagine caring for a Siberian chipmunk comes with its own unique challenges.
You're right. They have very specific dietary and environmental needs,
Uh-huh.
and they're known to be more sensitive than some other chipmunk species.
So potential pet owners definitely need to do their research before bringing one home. It's important to remember that these are wild animals, even if they're kept as pets.
Absolutely. Responsible pet ownership is essential. But for now, let's leave the domesticated world behind
Okay.
and venture back into the wilds of Russia,
All right.
where we'll encounter a bird that's as delicate and beautiful as it is resilient.
Okay, I'm intrigued. We've talked about powerful predators
Right.
and hardy survivors.
Yeah.
So what kind of bird are we talking about?
This one might surprise you. It's the Ross's gull,
Ross's gull.
a small, delicate-looking bird
Okay.
that thrives in the harsh conditions of the Russian Arctic.
Wow, that's unexpected. I always think of gulls as being pretty common. But you're saying this one is only found in Russia.
That's right. It breeds in Siberia and spends its winters in the Arctic ice pack.
Wow.
And unlike the more common gulls you might see in North America or Europe, the Ross's gull has a distinctly dove-like appearance.
So we're talking delicate features, soft colors, a real contrast to those rugged landscapes you've been describing.
Exactly. It's a beautiful reminder that nature's beauty can be found even in the most extreme environments.
All right, now buckle up because our next creature is a bit of a head scratcher.
Okay.
Imagine a deer with fangs.
Ah, yes. The musk deer.
Musk deer.
They're truly unique, aren't they?
Yeah.
Instead of antlers, they've developed these prominent fang-like tusks.
Really?
And they also have a distinctive dark facial mask and a white neckband.
Wait, so no antlers at all? That's pretty unusual for a deer.
It is.
And the name musk deer, I have to assume that comes from somewhere interesting. What's the story there?
Well, the name refers to a highly prized musk that they produce
Oh,
from a gland located near their rectum.
okay, that is definitely not what I was expecting.
Right.
And I'm guessing that this musk is the reason they're called musk deer,
That's right.
but it probably also makes them a target.
Sadly, yes.
Oh, no.
The demand for musk, which is used in perfumes and traditional medicine, has led to widespread poaching,
Oh, no.
posing a serious threat to their populations.
It's a tragic reminder of how human desires can impact even the most unusual and fascinating creatures.
It is.
Speaking of fascinating creatures, let's move on to one that holds a legendary status in Russia,
Okay.
the Siberian tiger.
Ah.
Now, this is an animal I've always been in awe of. Aren't they the largest cat in the world?
They are, and incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they're also critically endangered,
Really?
with only around 500 individuals left in the wild.
Wow, that's heartbreaking. It's hard to believe that such a majestic creature is facing such a dire situation.
It is a sad reality.
Yeah.
Habitat loss due to logging and poaching, driven by the illegal wildlife trade,
Oh.
are the biggest threats to their survival.
It makes you wonder if there's anything that can be done to reverse the trend. Are there any conservation efforts in place to protect them?
There are, and they've had some success.
That's good.
But the situation remains precarious.
I see.
It requires a multifaceted approach involving habitat protection, anti-poaching measures,
Yeah.
and educating people about the importance of conservation.
And speaking of education, I read that the Tumbusic people who live in the Siberian tiger's territory have a deep reverence for these animals. They see them as almost like deities, right?
Yes, they feature prominently in Tungusic folklore
Wow.
and are considered to be powerful spirits of the forest.
It's fascinating how different cultures view and interact with wildlife.
Right?
It speaks to the complex relationship between humans and the natural world.
Yeah.
And now, for our final creature, let's meet another wildcat that prowls the forests of Russia.
All right.
The Eurasian lynx.
The Eurasian lynx.
Okay, tell me everything. What makes this lynx stand out from other wildcats?
Well, unlike some of its more famous relatives,
Okay.
the Eurasian lynx has a relatively short coat.
Interesting.
And here's some good news.
Okay.
It's one of the few big cat species with a stable population.
That's encouraging to hear, but wasn't there a time when they were facing extinction?
Yes, in the 19th century, excessive hunting nearly wiped them out.
Oh, wow.
But thanks to conservation efforts and stricter hunting regulations, their numbers have rebounded.
So, yet another example of how conservation can really make a difference.
Right.
But I imagine even with a stable population, there are still challenges that they face.
You're absolutely right. Habitat loss.
Yeah.
Due to deforestation and development, as well as ongoing poaching, still pose threats to their long-term survival.
It's a reminder that even when a species seems to be doing well, we can't afford to become complacent. Conservation is an ongoing process.
It is indeed, and it requires a collective effort from individuals, governments, and organizations.
Absolutely.
To ensure the future of these incredible animals.
Well said.
As we've been exploring all these amazing animals, it's striking how interconnected they are with their environment. And how often their survival kind of hinges on human actions.
Absolutely. Take the Desman, for example.
Right.
They're near extinction because of the fur trade.
Right.
And subsequent comeback, thanks to those protective laws, is such a powerful reminder of the impact we have, both positive and negative.
It is.
It makes you really think about the choices we make as consumers and the responsibility we have to protect these creatures.
And it's not just the Desman. The Siberian tiger facing that habitat loss and poaching. And the musk deer targeted for their valuable musk.
Oh, yeah.
They're all facing challenges directly tied to human activities.
It's heartbreaking to think about.
It is.
But it also kind of underscores the importance of organizations and individuals dedicated to conservation.
You're right. The work they do is so crucial.
It is.
They're on the front lines protecting habitats, combating poaching, and educating people about the importance of coexisting with wildlife.
And even something as simple as choosing sustainable products or supporting companies that prioritize conservation can make a difference, right?
Absolutely.
Every little bit helps.
Every little bit helps.
And the more we understand about these animals and the ecosystems that they rely on, the more informed our choices become.
That's right.
Speaking of understanding, did you know that the Baikal seal isn't just any freshwater seal?
Really?
It's the only exclusively freshwater seal species.
Wow.
In the world.
In the whole world.
Imagine that a seal perfectly adapted to life in a lake.
I know.
It just speaks volumes about the unique conditions of Lake Baikal itself.
It does.
It's so biodiverse.
It is.
That it's often referred to as the Galapagos of Russia.
The Galapagos of Russia.
That paints a very vivid picture.
It does.
And it makes the fact that there's a solarium where you can actually see these seals up close even more special.
Oh, I bet.
There's